This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
A voice roll call of who's here. You ready, Leslie? I'm Dan Rist. I'm here.
Dylan Derby, here.
I'm Brown.
And Longley. Elizabeth McAnulty.
Well-
Manuel, planning director, not a member.
Tony Corella. David Paquette.
Cynthia Terrell.
Don Gracemore.
Online,
Hey, Leslie.
Leslie.
Leslie Button here.
Pat Bruff here. I got stuck in a meeting, guys. I'm heading that way, but I'll listen in while I'm on my way over there.
Okay, Pat. Bonnie, you're here, right? You can hear us, Bonnie?
Here,
right.
President account.
Thank you. We now have the approval of the minutes. Did everybody receive the draft minutes? Leslie, nicely prepared?
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions? Then I'll take a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
I'll second.
All right, Ann seconds, Don motions. Let's have a roll call. I'd like it if you would do the roll calls.
Me,
Yeah, is that okay?
not the secretary.
Okay, well, the secretary.
Here we go. Pat Broke,
Aye.
Tom Brown,
Aye.
Leslie Button, aye. Don Gracemore, aye. Tony Corella.
Aye.
Ann Longley,
Aye.
Bonnie McLeod,
Aye.
David Paquette,
Aye.
Dan Rist,
Aye.
Cynthia Terrell.
Aye.
And so it passes unanimously.
Thank you.
No, I'm
Elizabeth
sorry,
McAnulty. Aye.
What's your last name, Elizabeth?
It's McAnulty.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah. Oh, I do.
I'm
You're
glad
all
you-
set.
I'm
I
glad-
was in the minutes
Glad you
as
spoke up.
president
Yeah.
last
Yeah,
month.
you were.
so.
Yeah.
Okay, so minutes are approved. New business. I started with the review of the ad hoc committee report conclusions. I wanted to do this for two reasons. One is to refresh all of the ad hoc committee members that are on this committee of the report. And secondly, to allow the new members a chance to review it and ask questions of all of us who were involved. The basic conclusion, which you could get to the next page, I think, the broad range of findings outlined in this report highlight positive feedback and concerns expressed by residents and other stakeholders, as well as steps and processes by other Massachusetts communities to build a new senior center. Understanding that the 55+ population in Easthampton will increase over the next decade. This report is intended to inform future planning by the mayor of Easthampton and other city governance groups to create a welcoming and inclusive environment for the city's senior citizens, provide a space that caters to their unique needs and interests. That conclusion is what drove us to have a building committee, which was part of the recommendations. You can see, if you go up a few pages on that, there was a lot of work performed, and I appreciate whoever wrote this, was it Leslie or Cindy, about all the things that we did. We researched potential sites, we evaluated space needs, we visited 4 recently built senior centers, we reviewed the Council on Aging's current programming, we reviewed needs identified in the November 22 Easthampton and Richmond Center feasibility study done by architect EDM. We reviewed needs identified in the 2018 Council on Aging planning study, and sought out, this is important, we sought out residents' thoughts about aging in Easthampton. So there was a lot of work done. And what I'm trying to say to all of you is, we don't need to start over. All of that work did a great deal, not just in reaching the conclusions, but coming up with why we need a senior center, and we're going to move forward with trying to get it built. That's my position. Does anybody have any questions or concerns about the report? We are gonna go through it all. Today, we're gonna do, sites, but other than that, you know, we're gonna get into, once we get a site, we're gonna get into, the facility itself and what we want and it's all that, so. Any questions? Because it's a long report, well done, well typed up. I think Leslie had a lot to do with it. If you have questions, Leslie knows a great deal, maybe she can answer, but I was on the committee and I visited a lot of the other senior centers, which made me believe that Easthampton should have one like Dayton.
I would just clarify what, I know we're gonna talk about possible locations and criteria tonight, but just to clarify one thing that when Dan says we're not gonna start over, you're gonna hear tonight about 5 possible locations. It does not mean that that's all inclusive, that that's it. This committee could ultimately end up with a site that the ad hoc committee hadn't even thought of, hadn't come to mind or what have you. So it is open for additional discussion. I don't think we want to portray that these are the only 5 sites that could be considered. Because there may be reasons why some of these have to drop off that we haven't even vetted yet.
And I would agree with that statement. My position was simply saying that there's a lot of research done already. That doesn't mean we can't do more research or that we can't decide, well, we really feel differently about the facility or whatever. Okay. So thank you, Tom. Anybody else?
There was somebody online, yes.
Yeah, I have a
Bonnie,
question.
okay.
The sites, I did read that report, was very well done. I read it even before I joined the committee because of my interest, but read it twice. And are those sites that are identified in there all city owned, or how does that work? Is it always a city owned property, or is it not a city owned property that can be purchased?
We'll get into that.
Bonnie, we're gonna get into that in a moment when we get to the agenda item.
Okay, that's fine.
Those things are gonna be reviewed. Are you able to
Okay.
see the image? Or you're not, you're on a
Oh,
phone. So you can't.
I have the agenda. I have the agenda, but I didn't know how much detail you were going to go into.
What you're gonna miss by not being on a computer is, or not being here, is the ability to see the report being sent out.
No, I have the report. I have the report.
Okay, so you can get to the pages.
You can see
Good.
it,
All right. Any other questions? Wait, David.
Yep.
Hey.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of the report, I guess I don't want to get too much in terms of thinking about questions. Are there anything that between now and the initial ad hoc report that would change, or areas of research that we think we would want to look into to get more information? Obviously, potentially different sites, but is there any change in needs or thinking about obviously the population is aging and we will have an increased capacity at some point, like everywhere else in colleges that are having decreased capacity of students. So is there thoughts on, I know some cities, I don't know if we looked on this report, have looked at sort of like dual community centers / older adult centers. Is that something that we would think about, or as part of the plan here? Are we sort of, based on the ad hoc, focused on the 55?
I don't
plus?
think anything's off the table,
Okay.
but Cindy.
Yeah.
I would encourage us to just hold that, because that's a whole conversation, and we could also schedule guests to come
Okay.
on both sides of that, people who have built it
Right.
successfully or not successfully, people who are thinking about doing it, architects who have opinions on it.
Yeah.
We could really deeply go into that. I would just say, this is pretty flexible in terms of parking. It recommends 150 to 200 spaces. And I know that sounds a lot, but the places that only built 100 to 125 are running out of parking spaces, who have the same size city as Easthampton and about the same seniors. I don't know that in here is the recommended square footage. So that we have gotten more information about, a wide range of square footage for similar sized communities. But otherwise, I really don't think that anything major has come up between this report
Okay.
and today. And it would be fine to jump into talking about the sites, but I just wanted to ask you, are we going to be talking about criteria for looking at sites
Yeah.
or skip? Okay.
Well, Tom's gonna go over.
Okay. So I'm going to go
I
back
wanted
there.
to say that my feeling on that statement.
Yep.
Is there's two sides of that. I want a senior center about seniors,
Yep.
for seniors.
Agreed.
There's been some talk about, mixing in youth facility, maybe getting the community center involved. There's a side of me that says, well, if that'll help sell it.
Right.
Why don't we think about it? But that's a discussion that we have to have, because when we find a site, we have to decide, what are we building? And then we have to ask an architect, if we're gonna build that.
Yep.
Is it gonna be a combined center, or is it gonna be just a senior center, and how many square feet and all that?
Yep.
Because that site, we decide, this is our primary site, this is our secondary site. What does it mean? So, Dawn.
I just want to mention to you, so I know you guys went to Long Meadow,
We didn't go to Long Meadow, did we?
No.
We did it. The board went,
Oh,
the
so
board,
board.
sorry,
Okay.
I'm speaking out of turn.
Okay, so I really like Cindy's idea of having that discussion with other people that could speak to, we've done it. These are the we were really surprised when we went there, the challenges that they faced and the unexpected consequences of building a joint site. And so I think that is a
That's the kind
really
of
good,
information.
close neighbor that we could come and have in. So I really like your idea of having that conversation in the context of people that could speak to it directly and give us some information. And that's something we didn't specifically do in the ad hoc building committee.
And what's
So
great about modern technology, we can invite them to say something and they don't even have to be
Yeah.
at home.
you could say it in AI note takers.
No, we're not sending in AI note takers. Someone else? Did I hear?
Yeah,
Pat?
and I just had one thing, like I said in a previous meeting, my mom is a volunteer at the Hoyok Senior Center, and I was part of helping that come to fruition. One of the things they're finding is that a lot of seniors are coming from other towns to the center, so maybe something to consider. How do you handle people traveling from other towns when they see this bright new center that's got great food and great facilities, Well,
Well, it's kind of hard to turn away a senior, but I said this a few times. When we visited South Hadley, there was this huge yoga class. And I asked, wow, you have a lot of seniors doing this. And the director said to us, well, most of them are from Easthampton. That's all.
yeah, well, maybe I can find out the percentage, because I know people have to check in like they do in Easthampton. Maybe I can find the percentage of people that are coming from other towns.
All right, well, that would be nice. Anything else on this? Okay, Cindy, if you could bring up the site, review, and I'd like to turn it over to, Tom, and then once Tom goes over these, we're gonna ask Allison to comment on each site.
So are
Go
we,
back over them. So
do you want to start on page 7 on criteria, or are we going to the sites directly?
what do you need, Tom?
Criteria.
Okay, so Bonnie, we're on page 7.
Okay, thank you.
So just to review quickly, I don't need to read this to all of you, but what you see on these 2 pages is the criteria that the ad hoc committee had established for the location for a senior center. It was determined that it would have to be a minimum of 4 to 5 acres to not only accommodate the building size to meet the needs, but also for parking, and could also have additional space, outdoor space for potential gardens, outdoor fitness games, or walking trails. So bottom line is, the larger the site, the better. The committee considered city-owned land versus private ownership. So when we were doing some pluses and minuses, obviously city-owned land got some pluses. If we had to pay $1 million for a piece of land, that's $1 million that we can't put into the building. It would be preferred if it was buildable property. Obviously, land issues could be worked out, but a level topography, no demolition of existing structures. So there were a couple sites that were looked at that would have required some extensive demolition of buildings that already sat there. Others are sort of virgin territory that have never had anything built on them. So those got some higher rankings. Parking considerations, as Cindy has said, we're looking at a minimum of 150 to 200 cars. I forget that number, Cindy, that percentage, but by 2030, was it 40% of Easthampton's population is going to be 55 and over?
Assuming you're talking about boomers and Gen X, but once we get to millennials, unless they move away, they're an even larger generation.
Yeah, so if that 40% number is even close, you know, we're a population of 16,000, 40% of that, I can't do the math. I'm not a math teacher, right? But anyway, we need a lot of parking. Access to public transportation would be a plus. Current bus routes or proximity to a major route, or Hampton Street, Oak Street, for example. Traffic considerations, easy access for entering and exiting that's some strong points, if you will. Is there existing heavy traffic in the area that might require some traffic mitigation? Keep in mind what was done when Mountain View School was built to accommodate traffic. Neighborhood, nearby uses, neighborhood, proximity to community and government services and older adult housing could make a site more attractive. So think of the adult housing facilities in Easthampton, and being close to those could be a plus. And then it was determined that if it could be located within 1 to 2 miles from downtown, could help to make the center walkable. However, without putting down walkable, walkable is somewhat overrated. As we know, the majority of participants at the senior center today get there by car. So that was the criteria that was used to evaluate sites. And I would just preface this by saying that the ad hoc committee identified sites based on that criteria, but in no way dug into vetting those sites. So of the 5 sites that you see here, once this committee digs into, okay, Highland Avenue, for example, is up there. Are there issues that all of a sudden make this site not feasible? Or are there other sites, as I said earlier, that might come into play? So let me just quickly run through the sites. Highland Avenue, and you can see where we listed the pros and cons. 16 acres, so that's plenty of land. City-owned land. It's flat, undeveloped. Exits out onto Route 10 that has a traffic light. And the location provides easy access for older adults living nearby. Some of the cons, it's some distance from a major highway, not on a current bus route, and it's a highly residential neighborhood that could pose some issues. 226 Park Street. If you picture Mountain View School, and next to Mountain View School is Treehouse, this land is next to Treehouse. And I believe you would have access to it from Button Road. So it wouldn't necessarily take another street to run all the way down to it. It could be a stub that was off of Button Road to get to this 4 acres of land. It's one of the smaller sites with only 4.3 acres. Next to Treehouse Project near Mountain View School, land is undeveloped and currently owned by the city. Some of the cons we felt, it is a significant distance from the street. And at the time, we believed the construction would potentially have to include a lengthy road for access. Not so sure that's the same issue today. 154 Oak Street, beautiful piece of property, 32 acres of land, located on a major road with bus routes in the vicinity of Easthampton Housing Authority, city-owned land, flat, undeveloped, making for ease of construction. Can you tell I like this site? However, when you get to the cons, access and egress to the property is very close to 2 very busy intersections. And public safety is already expressing concerns if a senior center were to be located there. The exit and entrance would be, if you picture that stretch of road, would be somewhere between Hendrick Street and East Street. Okay, so somewhere in that vicinity would be an entrance to the senior center. 392 Main Street is a privately owned property, 10 acres of land. If you're driving to Southampton, it would be on your left, just before Easthampton Animal Hospital. Located on a major road with bus routes, across the street from significant affordable housing units. And there are additional affordable housing units planned for a vacant site across the street. And the bike path is has access in the rear of it. Again, flat, undeveloped land for ease of construction. The downside to this, it is privately owned. We didn't vet it totally, other than approaching the owner, and the owner does not seem to be interested in selling the property at this time. The last one on here was sort of a fly up a trial balloon and see what happens. Daily Field. Proximity to the high school, city-owned land. Could have access from the high school. Visibility is somewhat limited, but it's close to downtown. The downside to that, it would probably take considerable work with a park to accomplish, and may or may not be legally feasible. I believe when you deal with park land, it requires state legislation to allow you to do something else, but there are some other things we've thought about, i.e. Park and Rec's looking for a new building, and maybe something could be done, two buildings on the site, not connected, you think we have a senior center / Park and Rec building, but there may be enough land there to do both, and kill two birds with one stone. Maybe that incentivizes the Park and Rec to get up and cheer for this site. That's it. Be happy to entertain any questions.
I just wanted to state a couple of reasons. We went into city-owned land as priority. If you buy, let's say we tried to buy that.
Yeah.
You're looking at $1 million. That's real money. To buy any site will be very costly. So we're trying to, that was one of the criteria that I think the committee decided was real important. And as we all talked about it, parking is so big. That's why having a lot of acreage. Go ahead.
Something else that wasn't mentioned is that it was the ad hoc committee's majority opinion anyway, that it be one story, which also means you need more space, that it can even out which is more expensive, 2 stories or 1 story. It's differently expensive, fixing elevators versus going, wider.
Yeah, we also talked about staffing issues.
Staffing on the second floors. Yeah, that's a good report. Yeah.
What I'd like to do now is go over these satellite maps with Allison. And I'd like her to comment, remembering the pros and cons. Unfortunately, Allison, I don't know how you can get in there. Can we if you wanted to use your mouse to point out things or your finger?
Yeah, so can you make me a co-host?
Yeah.
And then you could bring it in. Does she have to bring it up on her computer?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me just stop sharing real quick and go back here. Okay.
Are you in the?
I'm just going to add her. Okay. All right. And I just sent you the email, and then I can make you a co-host when you join. All right. And then it is, do you want me to show you where it is? Oh, you've got it. There you
Yeah, I'm gonna use my.
go. All right, great.
So this is Highland Avenue, everybody. You might point out where Main Street is so we get an idea of how far away it is from Route 10?
Yeah.
Northampton Street, you mean?
Yeah, so this is Route 10.
Mhm.
Delay.
All the residential.
Yeah, so this yellow large highlighted area is the parcel that was looked at. This land was given by the West Boylston Mills to the Boy Scouts, with a deed restriction that it be used for recreational purposes, and a requirement that they turn it over to the city if the Boy Scouts ever dissolved, which they did. So the city has had this, I think since the fifties was the deed. So the concern is that it has that deed restriction on it. We would have to have some legal advice if we were to move forward with this site. My other consideration related to that is in Massachusetts, there's this thing called Article 97, which is an amendment to the state constitution that restricts the change of use of public land that has been put into conservation or recreational use. So we would have to look into that too. And the only way to change use of Article 97 land is to get the approval of the state legislature. And the state legislature needs to see that land has been given in kind that has the same level of value, whether it's ecological value, recreational value, so on. So it's not necessarily an easy process. It has to be like a 1-for-1 at least. So if we repurposed 5 acres of this, we have to find 5 acres somewhere else to put into Article 97 land. That's if it applies. I think again, it would be, if we wanted to look at this site seriously, we would want to get a legal opinion pretty early on.
In other words, if we all fall in love with this site, that's when a legal opinion would be needed. But I don't want to go there. That costs money, the city's money. So let's look at all the other sites and look at other possibilities.
To be clear, it's gonna cost the city money no matter what.
Yeah.
To be clear. So I just want to put that out there, like,
Dan, I'm hoping we can jump in.
Go ahead, Pat.
no, that's just saying that I don't think any of the pieces of property that we looked at are not gonna cost the city some kind of money, even if we own the property. That's what I meant.
Okay. Tom,
I'm just hoping we'll be able to, rather than wait to the end, ask questions, because each one's coming up individually and screwed.
oh, ask questions now
questions
of Allison, sure.
Yeah, so Allison, even though this property isn't technically controlled by Park and Rec, it follows a lot of the same requirements of Park and Rec land, state legislation to use it. I guess one of my thoughts was if we did something with outdoor pickleball courts, is that recreation, and therefore
More pickleball courts?
yeah, what the heck?
I think it boils down to the area that is being taken out of recreational use. So if we're only using an acre, then we'd only need to give an acre somewhere else. But just adding pickleball courts elsewhere on the site wouldn't satisfy that.
Yeah.
But it's not, I can't say for certain that this is Article 97 land. It has a lot of the criteria that has been used by courts in the past to determine what qualifies as Article 97 land. And Westfield is a very recent example of where it was brought up that recreational land was supposed to be used to build a school. The neighborhood sued, and the court determined that it did meet the criteria to be Article 97. So we just don't want to get too far down the road without looking into the issue. Is really all I need to say. And there is some sort of conservation considerations. You can see up top there's some streams that run through there. They're tributaries to another stream. I think given the size of this piece, it would be relatively easy to avoid impinging on any resource areas. The end of Highland Ave here becomes, I don't know, it's just, it would need to be improved to provide more, safer and better access to the parcel than what exists now. Right now, it feels more like a driveway.
than a road. So it would have to be upgraded a bit. And yeah, so those were really the things that jumped out.
No, I think he was right.
Yeah, I guess in sort of obviously if we're being sort of the idea of falling in love with the property or idea going forward, but sort of what would the process be, or sort of what is involved with determining if something falls under Article 97?
Yeah, I mean, my first step would be to reach out to the city solicitor and to get his opinion on whether he feels it would be, if the city were to be put in the position of Westfield and it was challenged by the neighbors in legal action, what kind of stance we would have, like how good position we would be in to fight it. So
Yeah.
Allison, I'm just trying to understand that, one of the things you said was like, we take 5 acres from there, we have to give 5 acres. What is that? I don't understand what that means.
yeah, so it would be, if we took 5 acres of this piece, we'd have to find 5 acres somewhere else in the city that has comparable, like recreational, ecological value and put that land into Article 97.
Okay,
So
so we
it's
would
like-
restrict that.
Yeah, so
Piece somewhere
protecting
else
the
in the
new
property.
piece somewhere else to make up for the land that we're
Okay.
taking away from this piece.
And that could be land the city already owns, and it just is a matter of, okay.
Yeah,
I
it
just wanted to
can't
make
be
sure I
like
understood
not a park. It has to be land that's not already
Used
like
for
set
something
aside.
like that. Okay, thank you.
I just want to remember to ask, you said recreational, are there trails and stuff on this?
There are, so it's called.
It is an active recreational place.
It's technically passive recreation, but it's called out in our open space and recreation plan as public recreation area. There's a limited amount of trails. There's not much parking, so it doesn't get an awful lot of use. And the recommendation was to improve the parking and access, so that it would be more widely used. And that's what it was. That was what was in the open
Okay.
space and recreation.
That's what I want to know. Tom?
I think, just to follow up on that, Allison, I think in fairness to all of this discussion, I don't think since the day that the city took ownership of that land, I don't think it's ever officially been used for recreational purposes, like signage and say, come here and park and walk the trail. It's never officially been built out as recreational use.
Yeah, and that would probably help our case, I would say. And the fact that the city hasn't invested funds into it is another consideration that courts have looked at. But there's also, again, it's the deed restriction that I think is, for me, the bigger concern as it relates to the Article 97, because it was like dedicated to recreation.
How many acres is that again, Tom?
16.
Yeah.
So we're talking leaving 11 acres for recreational purposes. I think that's, well, anyway. Anybody else on this side? Because I do need to go over all the sites. Okay, let's move to the next one, which is park.
So this is 226 Park Street. North of that is the Treehouse development and obviously Mountain View School. So there, again, all of these have streams that run through them. We have streams everywhere. It seems. But this is a big area here to work with to stay outside of the conservation area. I would say access off of is this Button Road, I think it is. It's not impossible. It would be challenging because of the streams. You would have to do a stream crossing, which is it's doable, but it's expensive and it's a long permitting process. It would probably be a lot easier to come off of Park Street. And I think the sight lines in this vicinity aren't terrible for people trying to pull out.
Can you, I'm sorry, I just want to ask while you're at there, that section that comes from Park Street before the stream, you know how many acres that is? Would you guess?
I can measure it.
She can do better than guess. She can measure it.
Technology. is one.
Also, while she's doing that clarification for the minutes, she said, the sight lines aren't terrible,
Are
are
not.
not.
Or not.
It, it may have sounded to the note taker like are.
Or not.
Let them interpret that.
Not you, I meant Gemini.
So that area without the stuff out to the road is about 9 acres. So it's
How many acres is it?
9.
So it's
Nine.
more than
It's a big,
so it's bigger than what's.
yeah, I'm not sure why the report had a lower.
Yeah, we have 4.3. I'm not sure why.
4.3 might just be the area where they dumped all the pond
Oh, yeah.
dirt.
Yeah.
That's probably just that, because if you look at where Button Road comes in, it looks like the road dead ends to the right. If you're, so all the way to the right, right there.
Oh, this stuff.
So you can access it right there, but that's really tight. It's between two houses. It's literally in someone's front yard, basically. And then what you can see is the area without the trees that looks. So that's where all of the pond dredging
material
was placed. So that whole 4-acre site is all pond dredging. So it's, I mean, it's clean.
Right. Well, yeah, but I'm sorry, just wanted to say that I'm attracted by the fact that we have 9 acres off of Park Street. Park Street's traffic is slowed down by a roundabout, which to me makes it more feasible in the sense of not accumulating a lot of back traffic. It's always moving. And having picked up my kids at Mountain View, I'm in love with roundabouts, sorry.
Can you go the other way?
They're better than taking a left-hand turn on a busy road.
Yeah.
Where do you want it?
I want to see what's at the other end.
So that's the non-tuck soccer fields. Where
Okay.
that point goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was looking.
That's really the Doniphan Soccer.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I looked at it from the perspective of staying in this
Mhm.
area. I think you just have more challenges with the streams and things if you go back, although I hadn't even noticed this stuff off of the treehouse development. But that is another potential.
I mean, the problem with Button Road is it's narrow.
It is very narrow,
It's- I mean, it's-
windy.
Yeah, it's hard for emergency vehicles to get down, so it does slow the response.
Tom,
Allison, at the back side of that 9-acre parcel in front, what is that blue?
This,
Yes.
that's a stream.
Okay, so
That is.
White Brook
Brook.
Middle School. Middle School. That's true.
no, what that's, yeah, it could be White Brook.
It's White Brook. It is.
So I'm assuming with that 9 acres, we have enough room to stay far enough away from that.
And that, I'm sorry, that access little jet coming out, that looks pretty wide. Is that like 100 feet?
No
This
way.
here,
Yeah,
it's about, it's just shy of 75.
so that's wide enough for a road with
No, but-
plenty of,
That's how long it is, how wide it is.
No, wide,
It's wide.
where it meets the road is about 70.
Okay, cool.
that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
And how would that,
Oh, and three.
how would we be for frontage on that? I mean, could we have some sort of an exemption from the zoning? Because I feel like 75 feet's not enough frontage to be able to.
It's not, and I thought of that, and there's frontage on Button Road
Oh.
that satisfies the frontage requirement.
Because what we just need 120.
What are we talking about? I'm sorry, you're gonna have to inform
Yes,
me. what we're
120.
talking
So
about.
frontage is the amount of area in front of the, on the roadside that will inform how much, whether you can build.
Whether.
Yeah. So there's minimum dimensional requirements for a building lot, and one of them is frontage on a road. The Park Street frontage is insufficient, but there's more than enough on Button Road.
Is there access to Button Road if we were to take this small section of property? Just the 9 acres you pointed out, is there access to Button Road as a secondary line or
You-
it's way over or something?
You would, I wouldn't.
Okay, I was just asking, and
Yeah, it's.
you don't really need that, you just need to be able to get an emergency vehicle in and out, so I don't think you need it, but. Yeah, I see what you're saying, okay.
Even though the Button Road frontage satisfies zoning, we can still use the Park Street entrance.
Yes.
to get in
Yeah,
and out. Yeah.
I looked to make sure we didn't have any requirement to the contrary. So we would have to join these lots. This is right now, it's a separate lot. I think it's like permanently conserved as well, so you would probably be able to put a road over it. But if you join the lots, you meet the technical requirement of the frontage.
And I think Allison, for some reason, when the ad hoc committee was looking at it, and one of the cons we came up with was a lengthy road to get to it. I think we were looking at the back piece of that, not the front piece.
Oh,
I gotta move this along, to the next site, just so that we can see the 3 sites that were. Well, there's 5 sites. There's a couple more. I do want to get to all of our agenda items, but, we're okay. We have 20 minutes.
this is 154 Holyoke Street, so this is Mountain Road, like heading up the mountain. This is Kendrick Street and this is East Street. There's a couple of access points, onto Holyoke, and sort of on Kendrick as well. You can see there's some wetlands that cut through the middle and a brook. This is Broad Brook that runs through the main part here, or over here, I'm sorry. And then this is Brandy Brook that feeds into it, I think. So you need to avoid this area and a buffer zone around it. But there's, plenty of dry land.
Where's Hendrick Street? Is Hendrick Street about it?
Yeah.
Right there?
Yeah, I think that lost a lot.
Yeah. I think the police and fire are gonna say absolutely not.
Is that so the city, I didn't realize the city owns this. This is where all the paragliders land in that field. Yeah.
And we own that.
Yeah,
32 acres.
it's,
It's rough.
like leased or licensed for
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Too, right? Okay, boils.
I don't like,
Go ahead, Pat.
no, I mean, I love this location. Like, I just hate the coming in and out piece. But I wonder if there's a way to get creative with the coming in and out piece. I don't know the answer to that.
So one thing I will say, the challenge coming down the mountain is
Right.
the slope and
Right.
topography.
Right.
I think one of these closer access points that are kind of unrealistic. I
Right.
think Could be better off down here or
Right.
doing like a roundabout situation.
Right.
on the street. But even
Whichever
still,
one
people
left.
coming, like they're going fast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I don't disagree. I just, again,
Then where's East Street on there also?
Right here.
it's right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the worst part of that whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to do probably a land taking to fit.
Probably could do that.
You have to do land taking and
I mean, not necessarily, it looks like it would be kind of tight to fit the roundabout.
Yeah.
Well, a roundabout to me, I'm sorry. As chair, I tend to rudely interrupt. A roundabout to me will slow the traffic coming down that mountain. Because they come down at 50, 60 miles an hour sometimes.
Well, roundabout, it'd be a straightaway right across the front.
Yeah.
Right, right.
We could provide that. But if we've decided to, I guess we have to provide 2 sites. I'm gonna probably ask the chiefs to come up, comment on these sites anyway. Let's move on. Anybody else have a big question on this site?
Oh, I guess, so,
David? David speaking?
yeah, sorry. So I know that road's part is also, is it state managed coming down? Or how does that work if we're gonna do a roundabout? It's like it's a joint city, state.
141.
Yeah, the state does own the point, or maintain that.
But we have to maintain the mountain.
Well, I know, yeah, I was wondering, like, does that also change the thought process for if you're people like do implementing roundabouts or
Yeah, I
other?
think DOT would have to okay it.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not easy.
It doesn't, it's not, it just takes a while. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily that it's that hard, it just takes. a while.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anne.
Let's look at 392 Main Street, which is,
I think you could skip that one.
You
Would
want
like
us
to, I mean,
skip
it's
it?
Is that the one that's privately owned? Yeah.
There's no interest in selling.
all right, then the only other thing is Daly Field, which,
Yeah, so Daily
I see
Field
that has major problems.
Well,
has the same concerns as the Boy Scout camp. It's not intensified by the fact that this is managed by Park and Rec and
Right.
has had investment in it as a recreational property.
It's gonna be the other property.
Okay,
I sort of, in looking at this, would recommend coming off of this Jarrett's Court high school
Mhm.
access as opposed to the side streets.
I mean, taking land away from Park and Rec is a big challenge, and I don't see it happening myself.
Except you have to look at your use of it, Dan, and Daily Field is hardly used anymore.
Okay, well, let's
I mean, if,
think about it. Can
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can I just
So-
say something about Daily
Yeah.
Field? There's a lot of big events that are done on that field throughout every year, like repetitively. And actually, we just booked it for the Fairy Festival. So that field's used for a lot of big events.
Well, anyway, did you want something?
So I was just gonna say, did we, this could be crazy, but did we look at what's it called? The DPW, yard next to the Korean War Bridge?
We did not.
Just made an assumption that it.
What, their yard?
It's
Get out of my yard.
So I was yeah.
close to town.
Yeah.
Has sidewalks all the way to
Yeah.
it.
Relocating them, right?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a thing, yes, but you know, if all options are on the table, there's the.
I think, sorry, can I chime in?
Go ahead.
I think all options are on the table. I was a firm believer in making them put Daily Field on there. And I know I drew some ire, and I will continue to draw some ire for doing that. However, I looked at it from a couple of different perspectives. I actually continued to look at it as a way to kill two birds with one stone, and that is to help Parks and Rec and to help Council on Aging before it became a thing. So, and while I understand the challenges of all that, I'm not saying it's the best location at all, but I was also looking at it from a parking situation and shared parking with the high school. I mean, the high school already has 100, I don't know how many spaces they have, 100 and change probably. And I was looking at it from that perspective. I was looking at it from a perspective of, it's a city owned, but there would be ways to, I think, configure it so that it would work for both Parks and Rec and the Council on Aging. It's access to the park, it's access to the school, it's access not quite to the bike path, but it's kind of it's close. So I understand the challenges of, like you said, there's issues with removing parkland to use it for something else. But I don't, until somebody convinces me there's another better location. I'm not saying this is my number one location by any stretch of the means, but I think it should still continue to be looked into as far as how we can do two things. I heard, and forgive me for being a little late to the meeting, but I was listening. If there are ways to make this so that we're going to help get what we need for the Council on Aging, and part of that is incorporating other factors, then so be it. And that's just my gut.
I am going to cut off this discussion because of the time.
I understand.
What I'm going to suggest is the DPW yard be looked at, maybe by anybody, maybe Allison, maybe November meeting, we can look at that as a site possibility. I'd like you all to study these. Park Street has now become more of a viable site because it has the acreage, but I didn't think it had. So that to me is rose to the top of, for instance, my point. But as Pat brought up, there's lots of play possibilities, especially if you have to market it to some other, like the Park and Rec building. But please look at it because we're going to spend more time on this at the next meeting. As I said, I think site location is primary. And as Allison, if you can look at the DPW yard, maybe talk it over with Greg and see what's going on there. Is that a possibility? And you can say Salem brought it up.
Definitely not taking credit.
I mean, it is. I think it's over 4 acres.
How big is it?
It's big.
And just imagine
But-
a glass wall up against the Manningham, looking out where seniors could be sitting and seeing the beautiful river.
Just real quick, Dan.
Yeah.
Chris Salem mentioned the river, which means 200 feet away from the river. And I have a feeling that public safety is going to be just as concerned about access and egress to that location as there.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay, I don't know. Salem brought it up and I want to respect their opinion.
Dan, it's 5:52.
Yes. let's go on. I have a couple of other things that we can do pretty quickly. Public speak time. As open meeting law states, you don't have to have it, but I think the public input is important. I'd like to put that at the top of the meeting after approval of minutes. Have it for maybe 10 minutes, a minute per person. If people see this and want to comment on like the sites, they should have a right to do it. Does anybody disagree with that?
No.
So the next agenda, Cindy, we're gonna put public speak right after that. Meeting length. Cindy, is there a reason we can't go an hour and 15? And I only say this because we only meet once a month, and like, I had to cut off this discussion. It was a good discussion. Yes, Cindy?
The room and the Google Meet go until 7 p.m. It's up to what people want to do.
I'd like to go an hour and 15 minutes. Does anybody object to that?
I could go longer,
No, well,
but hour and 15 is fine.
I'd like to do. Are you okay, Bonnie, with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, then if you need to change do we need to reserve the room longer?
She said they already have it, I think.
We have it until 7.
Okay, well, we could go longer. Does anybody,
We
well,
can just do it by meeting, you know?
let's go to 1:15 for the next meeting.
Okay.
And we will have a real mayor at the next meeting.
Not a make believe one.
Ouch.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Same thing. I was gonna say.
Cindy, you wanted to say something about the membership?
Yes.
We have 11 now because somebody,
So we have a member that we really wanted, who's the CEO, Erica Custer of Treehouse. Her board meets at the exact same time, and rather than ask her to change her board meeting, she thought she could have another employee who has lots of local experience with the seniors of Easthampton and so on. But we got clarification that whoever this other person is has to apply, and Erica needs to step down. So just to inform the committee and the public that we're waiting for Erica to submit whatever she's going to submit to the mayor's office. And, and the interim mayor said to me, what do we think is best for the committee? And I think you could make an argument to not replace that person because otherwise we're at 12, which is an even number, but it's not up to me personally. I could go either way.
An even number doesn't scare me because if we ever come down to a tie vote on an issue, then we haven't done our job.
Yeah. Okay, but I think given that she has some senior experience, this woman that's being considered, I think we should consider that person. I have no objection personally. Anybody object to a new member?
No.
Then why don't we work on Salem could appoint that person. Next meeting is November 24th.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna jump back. Wasn't this whole committee formed by the mayor's office anyway? Can we, so you're saying that we can without having?
It's true.
We're just gonna push it back up to the mayor's office.
It has to be an appointment by the mayor.
Okay, yeah, that's all right.
But we could have stayed at 11.
No.
We could have asked the mayor not.
I'm good. No, I'm good. Sorry.
Again, just one of the clarifications.
Go ahead.
At the top of the agenda, it says Board or Committee, Council on Aging. Should it say Council on Aging or Senior Center Building Committee?
So the name of this is the Senior Center Building Committee, and that's how the agendas are titled. It just doesn't have a home on the website yet, but it's on, I think, IT's list to give it a home that is not the same as the COA board. But for now, if anybody has trouble finding the agenda, just go into the website, go into the dialog box that says search, and just type in Senior Center Building Committee, and you'll find the agenda.
All right, we did well. And we have 4 minutes just to review. Please look at the sites again and be prepared for a longer discussion on them.
And a site visit would probably be helpful too at some point.
If we could do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Cindy.
You can do a site visit as long as you don't go with a quorum and you don't make any decisions.
I don't know how you go to the Park Street land. Say you have to walk in.
It's over now. Yes. Just look at it in the trees.
Yeah, you can't go on private property without.
We could have Pat get one of his drone?
Drone just fly over.
I'm gonna stop the recording. Oh, you have to adjourn.
Yes, don't stop the recording yet. I'd
Chloe,
like to,
Chloe.
Oh, go ahead.
a motion to adjourn.
Oh, no, I was just gonna mention that, then I do want to interrupt.
Okay.
So the next meeting scheduled the 24th.
Yes.
That's the week of, Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
Yeah, I won't be able to attend that.
I probably won't, either. I just didn't know if it
Can we
was.
make it the first? then?
First one.
We don't know. The 1st of December? I'm not available.
Oh, I'm not available either. What am I looking at?
You can still have it on that day. I just know that that's a wonky week. It's a tough week. Some people will be here, some people will be gone. I just wanted to put it out there before we.
17th. That's
Um,
that's 3 weeks
the-
away.
As far as I know, every other the other nights, I think are all occupied, but we can look into it. Yeah. Oh,
Oh, it looks open, she said.
Right now, it looks okay.
right now it looks open, and that
Are we
was which
talking the
date?
17th?
11,
17th.
17. Oh, well, I won't be here. That's my daughter's birthday. But
No, that doesn't- no. If you're not here.
Yeah, we need you to be here.
but another possibility is that on the, if we pick a date that, if we pick a different date, it's hard for the public because now you're changing what we've said to everybody is the date. What if we waited
Who can't be
until,
here?
I don't
Who
think that's-
can't be
You don't
here
think
on the
it's-
I don't think that's an issue.
Well, you're
Okay.
gonna run into December is gonna be the week of Christmas.
Right?
Right.
I know, I was gonna say that.
Right.
Going forward, the next,
So can we do the 24th anyway? Who can't?
you can, you just do it. Just do
well,
it.
Allison can't come
And I
though.
can send you feedback.
Oh,
Okay.
That's a
Bonnie,
great
can you make
offer.
the 24th at their next meeting?
I can go, yeah, that's fine.
All right, so I think that's best to keep it on the 24th, and then we have to talk about,
Oh, December.
yes, we can do Christmas Day. All right.
I make a motion to adjourn.
There you go, second.
Second.
I need to do a roll call, Bonnie, or yeah, Leslie. Roll call.
Oh, sorry. Clearly. Pat Rowe,
Aye.
Tom Brown,
Yes.
Leslie Button, aye. Dawn Gratian Moore.
Yes.
Elizabeth McCall, no,
Mackinac.
Mackinac.
Just imagine an A between the M and C. Yeah, yes,
We have a
I'm
few
here.
years, so we'll figure it out.
Bonnie McLeod,
Aye.
David Paquette,
Aye.
Dan Riss,
Aye.
Cynthia Terrell.
Aye.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.